Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Topic Time with Harrison Young. My second in-studio show at the Raynham Channel, and I am delighted to be here. And I want to thank all the viewers in Raynham who checked me out on YouTube, who watched the show last week and recommended us to your friends and family members, because we are going to be the new show in town. We're not trying to take ratings away from other people, but I do my best. And tonight I have a really awesome guest. She's lovely, she's fit, she's a bodybuilder, a fitness guru. This is Jennie Laurent, and we're going to talk to her tonight and interview her. We're going to find out all about her. And so, Jennie, how you doing tonight? Thanks for coming in.
I'm doing great, thanks. It's a pleasure to be here.
Okay. Now, you are a how would you define your title? I said bodybuilder. Would you consider yourself a bodybuilder? You get bigger arms than I do.
I'd say that what I do is a form of bodybuilding, but it's not. There's different categories when you compete, and I primarily compete at a figure level.
Okay.
There's usually.
What do you mean by figure level?
Figure is well, they have different levels of leanness when you compete. They have bikini, which is you're not as lean, and then figure is you're leaner and more shapely than they. And this is just the IMBF I'm talking.
Okay.
Then there's fit body, which is you're pretty ripped and shredded and lean, and then there's bodybuilding where they want you pretty muscular and shredded.
Okay, so you're like number 2 on the 4 scale, right? Basically.
Yeah, like third leanest.
Third.
Yeah.
Okay. No, you look very lean. Okay.
Thank you.
Now, I always do this with every guest I have on. I always like to backtrack and find out, like what they were like growing up, because everything happens for a reason. Everything you did as a kid leads to where you're at now. So talk about yourself as a kid. What were you like? Were you athletic? You look very athletic now.
Yeah, I'd say that I was a very active kid. I mean, from even when I was a toddler, my mom said I was a nightmare as a kid because I got out of everything she put me in. I couldn't sit still.
Wow.
If she didn't watch me, I was climbing flagpoles, climbing trees, basketball hoops, you name it. But
you remember this stuff?
I do. Yeah.
Wow.
I do. But I grew up and I'm much more safer now. But both my parents were athletes. My dad still plays hockey. He's almost 60.
Wow.
My mom grew up playing basketball, did track and field. My dad still does, he taught himself how to snowboard. He does skiing. He taught us all water sports. So I think I got athleticism from my parents.
What about, you got any brothers or sisters that are athletes too?
Yeah, my brother, he's younger than me.
Yep.
He played hockey and soccer.
Okay.
And he's an avid fisherman, a hunterman, so is my dad.
Okay, yeah, I'm a vegan, so I don't go for that, but I asked, so you would have told me. That's okay.
Yeah, and I have an older sister.
Yep.
So, yeah.
And she athletic too?
She was athletic in high school, and she's into fitness, and she's in the medical field, so.
A nurse?
She's a CAT scan. I'm a nurse.
Oh,
actually.
are you a nurse?
I'm a nurse, yeah.
Okay, let's talk about your career as a nurse. You want to reveal where you work as a nurse and how?
Sure.
Okay.
My current job is I work for CVS and the Minute Clinic.
Go ahead.
And I do, yeah, that's fine.
Keep talking.
And then what I do is I do case management, quality, patient safety. I also handle customer inquiries. So that's what I do. I work at more of a corporate administrative level right now. I've done operating room nursing, telemetry,
Wow.
ICU.
Taking blood too?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I've done nursing home, hospice care.
I gotta ask. Oh wow! You've seen the most infirm of the infirm.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get back to your childhood. So
Sure.
you're a competitive bodybuilder.
Yep.
So when exactly did that start? How old were you?
Well, I'd say that for me, like I never really went to the gym during high school except to prepare for some sports, but I always did landscaping since I was 8 years old. That was my thing.
Did you say landscaping?
Yeah.
Okay.
I still do it
mow
to
your
this
lawns
day,
in your
yeah.
spare time?
Yeah, I've done a little bit of everything. I've done some masonry here and there.
What, masonry?
Yeah.
You're the second rugged woman I've had on my show in a week.
Yeah.
The first one told me she did roofing. The last one I had last week, Mila. Masonry though, that's heavy stuff. So you really have to. You mix concrete and you lift big bricks and you put them on one at a time on people's sidewalks or walkways to the front door.
Yeah, it was mostly like small jobs. I just worked as a mason, his assistant and stuff. But
wow.
But yeah, since
that keeps you fit.
Yeah, since a young age I started landscaping. My uncle had owned his own business and he taught me how to do it, so I did that.
Yep.
And that's basically what I've done since my childhood. But then I got into sports. I
Right.
actually started dancing, but when they didn't have organized sports. But as soon as they did recreational town leagues, I started playing baseball and softball, soccer, basketball.
Co-ed?
Co-ed, yeah.
Wow.
And then they divided things up. I did, traveling all-star soccer leagues. But when I got into high school, I did band for a while, but then, like I said, sports took place of everything. So I did soccer in the fall, basketball in the winter, and then track and field in the spring, pretty much year round. And I did karate in and out, So.
Well, speaking of karate, how far along did you get in karate? Did you get any belt rank or anything?
I think
like
I
that?
got 2 yellow belts. I did Kenpo, and then I also did a form of Okinawan.
Oh, okay.
So,
well,
but I never went
that's
too
Chinese
far.
and
Yeah.
Japanese. Kempo is Chinese, Okinawan is Japanese, obviously.
Yeah.
Okay, now, as we both discussed a few weeks ago, back at my old location in Marshfield, I had a really cool guest named Jimmy Champion. I believe that's how you found me, and he's also a bodybuilder. Now, you told me that he trains you.
Yeah.
So how do those sessions? How did you end up meeting up with him?
Well, I had competed a couple years ago, and I kind of recently decided, maybe I want to get back into it. So I was looking for a coach, and I reached out to a friend of mine, and she said, these 2 guys are great. So I contacted
Jimmy
both
and Billy,
of them.
right?
Yeah,
Bill
Bill Murphy
yeah.
and Jimmy. So I reached out to both of them, and I was kind of like, I want to do this show in June. This was, a month ago. And I was like, can you guys accepting? And he's like, yeah, sure. So I went up and I met them, and it was like an instant connection. I was like, these guys know what they're doing. They've been doing this a long time. They're really passionate about it, and that's kind of what I was looking for. So.
Okay, but now Jimmy tells me that he moderates his workouts because he had a big issue with weight in his heart as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I assume that's an inspirational thing for you.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. Do you still meet him regularly for workout training now?
Yeah,
only when you compete for only when you're ready for a competition.
Well, I think that since the competing is kind of like a year-round thing.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, and like when you're doing a prep, it's not just that time. Like, I just met these guys like 2 months ago.
Really?
Yeah, pretty much it was like in May.
Okay.
But me and Jimmy, we connected really well. We talk, we text. He's
Cool.
a really cool guy. Bill too. He's like, we have this communication system, this support system. So I'm in contact with them almost on a daily basis, at least,
Right.
giving them my weights. But yeah, we're always collaborating. We're always talking about the latest and greatest research and what to implement, what to change, how we feel. So.
Well, now Bill's the one that owns the gym, right? Or is it someone else's gym that they?
I think it's someone else's gym.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Okay. So now let me ask you. You said going back to what you just said about being on the curve level. What percentage of body fat do you think you are? I'm looking at you. I'd say no more than 8%.
Oh, 8% would be if you were competing as a bodybuilder. I'd probably be a lot leaner. I'd probably say right now I'm probably like at least 14.
Really? Oh,
13 or 14,
yeah.
maybe.
Okay.
I mean,
I wouldn't really ask, especially a woman, this question. But under the circumstances, since you're telling me, you're describing these measurements of fitness, I definitely should be asking these things. Okay, 14%. That's not bad.
Yeah.
Okay, you couldn't be a Laker. Los Angeles Lakers.
No,
okay.
no, I'm sure. Yeah.
All right. Well, let me ask, you said you were you say you danced. Do you still dance at all, just for fun? Or?
Just mostly for fun.
Okay,
yeah.
like going out for clubs.
Yeah,
and
I
stuff?
love music, love dancing.
Right.
Like I wanted to do like salsa eventually, like take lessons or do something more organized. But
well, that's good. It'll keep you in shape too.
Yeah.
So what do you? How much time do you put in at the hospital? Now, what hospital? Did you say you worked at some hospital in Rhode Island?
Yeah, I last worked at Massachusetts General Hospital.
Mass General?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I worked there. It was like a full-time job.
Okay.
Right now I do full-time, pretty much first shift hours.
In Rhode Island, not in Mass
in Rhode
General
Island,
anymore.
yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Do you find that now? Dependents say that Mass General, the Boston hospitals are the best in the world. Now you're in Rhode Island instead. Does that make a difference? I'm just wondering, why did you go from Boston to Rhode Island? I'm just curious.
Well, what I kind of did is, I've always been from this area, and
Right.
this is my home. This is where my family and my friends are.
Yep.
And it's kind of where I started out. And
Yeah.
I actually worked for CVS before I became a nurse, and I just loved the department. I loved the environment.
Okay, you
I
were
liked
a
what I
pharmacist.
did. No, I was an admin there. In their risk management
What
department.
exactly is an admin?
You basically work for the executives.
Okay.
You do anything like data and
Oh, I see. You
handling.
were a
You're
data
just an
processor,
assistant.
more
You're
or
an
less.
assistant. Yeah.
Okay. No, I mean I could see you but you never actually sold drugs to people?
No,
Okay.
no. This was just the corporate. You know,
Okay.
we were
So
in
you didn't
risk
work in the
management.
actual store?
No, no.
Oh,
This
I
is
get
corporate.
you.
Yeah.
I understand.
So I
Okay.
basically went to nursing school.
Yep.
You know, did a few different jobs there, and then something was calling me back to CVS, and I think it was just the team aspect that I liked, and the coworkers that I had, and
Right.
the cohesion that was there.
I
So.
always say everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
But how did you end up like in Rhode? I mean, was the CVS office in Rhode Island that you?
Yeah, that's where their corporate headquarters is based.
Was that where you are now?
Yes.
Oh, that's where you are today.
Yeah.
Okay, now I
Yep.
understand. I thought
Yep.
that's where you did. Okay. Yeah. Besides, it's probably, you know what I'm thinking. I know it's great to be a nurse, but let's face it, it's probably nicer not to have to see some of the awful things that unfortunately do happen in hospitals. If you can, I know you're good for it and everything.
Yeah.
All right. What about like modeling? Have you ever done that?
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
both
yeah.
not just fitness modeling, but just any kind of modeling.
Yeah, that's actually what kind of I was getting into the competing was to try to get recognized, win some shows, get some get my name out there.
Right.
But I always I kind of grew up. I was a tomboy. I still am.
Where did you grow up exactly, if you don't mind me asking?
In Milford.
Milford.
Milford, yeah.
Okay, Milford.
The Milford
Mass.
area, yeah.
Yep, I know
Yep.
Milford. It's 495.
Yep.
That's a nice area.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, so I always kind of wanted to be a model. I just didn't know how to
Go about
get
it.
into it and like how to do it, and the confidence just wasn't there.
Okay.
And then when I finally competed, I actually did. That's when I started doing some photo shoots, and I actually met a really great photographer, and I'll mention him because he deserves credit.
Go for it.
Dominic Trapassi, phenomenal. He did fitness.
Sounds like a great photographer.
Yeah. So him and I, we just instantly clicked. I've done a couple with him, and he's great. He really set off my modeling career. My pictures came out great, and my confidence level soared. And I said, that I think I can actually do this now. So
There you go.
And Michelle Berzinski, she's also the makeup artist that really them two, they were a great team. They kind of like brought the modeling to life, and I was really pleased with how it came out. And I said, I think I can keep
Where did your
keep up
pictures
with this.
appear?
Well, I've been in some OCB magazines.
Okay.
I've been people have
What did you say?
OCB.
OCB. What's that?
It's another organization, another competition. That's my first show I did.
Okay,
OCB.
that's all fitness mag, right?
Fitness
okay,
magazine.
Cool.
Yeah, they promoted. They were looking for people to promote some of their articles, so I submitted some pictures.
Okay.
And then I've been hired for some small promoting jobs on the side.
Okay. Well, no, there's no small jobs. There's only small ideas that get bigger.
Yeah, it's mostly like supplement companies looking for promotional models, or I've done different kinds of photo shoots, and I'm still expanding my portfolio.
There you go. Okay. And where exactly were these shots done? I mean, what cities, like Boston?
Mostly Rhode Island.
Oh, Rhode
Because that's
Island,
where
okay.
Dominic's from, and we've shot at the beach. He had a
Yep.
studio. I did shoot with LHGFX. That was down in Connecticut because
Okay.
there was a Fitness Atlantic show down there.
Yep.
We did a variety of shots, and I've done some in the gyms
Okay.
as well,
right
like
at the
fitness
gym,
shoots.
When
Yeah.
you work out with Jimmy and Bill. Oh.
No, just random gyms.
Oh, random gyms.
Yeah, wherever we can get a site that has equipment.
Oh, great, awesome, okay.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk about what your workout routine's like, because
Sure.
that's kind of important.
Sure.
I always do that with every person that's into health and fitness, because I actually have one myself. It's hard to believe. Well, I'm pretty buffed. I'm a vegan, and I've been vegetarian for 32 years and a vegan for 2. And my workout consists of going to Planet Fitness 2 days a week, working out with my machines, and doing 7 days a week of cardio, walking 2.5 miles at a 6 incline for an hour, and pedaling my stationary bike for a half hour, and walking for another hour after I have my pound of chocolate, which I eat every day, in my 2 smoothies. So we'll talk about your fitness routine, and then we'll talk about your diet. So let's
Sure.
talk about your fitness routine. What's that look like?
So for right now, I'm kind of like in between shows, and
Okay.
I haven't started prepping yet. But
So it changes in between shows.
yeah,
Okay.
because right now it's a little bit looser. I mean, I'm kind of in more of a phase where I want to maintain what I have. So I really train 4 days a week. I lift.
Okay.
I do legs one day. I do shoulders and chest another. Then I'll do bis and tris, and then back and traps.
Okay.
So
Well, I always wondered what the benefits are of doing different muscle groups on different days. Why couldn't you work them all in a 4-day schedule? Would that be too
for like
much? you
total
think?
body?
Yeah.
Well, you could do that. You're just the reason why we split it up in certain ways. Like there's different splits you can do.
Okay.
Some people like to split their leg day and do like upper body and lower body. I
Right.
like to keep my leg day just once a week.
Okay.
It's my least favorite
No,
one
that's
to
fine.
work.
It just works for you.
But,
It feels good for you, so you do it like
Right.
that. Okay.
Yep. And the other thing is sometimes they try to push. They put pushing motions together and
Right.
pulling motions so that sometimes if you're working, back and biceps, you're getting some biceps and you don't want to overtrain them, so they clump them
Why
together.
don't you don't want to overtrain your biceps?
Well, yeah, some of the
Maybe because you're a woman, or because
no,
you
no,
might hurt them.
no.
Injure them?
Some of those exercises overlap, but when you train opposite muscle groups, you want to give them ample time to rest and repair.
Okay,
So if
that's
if
true.
you're doing workouts where there's too much of an overlap, you're not really letting the muscles rest.
Okay,
so.
now when you say you do a 4-day-a-week workout between competitions,
Yeah.
is that 4 days in a row and then 3 days of rest, or do you do
No,
one and one? What does the rotation look like?
I'd say usually I do like shoulders, chest on a Monday,
Okay.
and I can do legs on a Tuesday, then I'll take a rest day, and then
Okay.
I'll pick up bis and tris on a Thursday, and usually Saturday is back, and then I'll usually do fasted cardio 1 to 2 days a week right now.
Okay.
When I'm prepping, I'll probably do more, but.
Okay, cardio, what's that like? You jog on the treadmill or walk or?
I usually
What?
do either the bike, the elliptical, or the Stairmaster, depending on what I'm doing, if it's a HIIT or if it's just a little bit of steady state or incline, treadmill.
Right,
So
okay.
it varies
Yeah,
based
no,
on
I
what I'm
understand.
doing.
That's
yeah.
awesome. Now, what about like what about like doing like outdoor stuff? Do you like? I mean, I don't know. I get looking at you. I say you look very like an outdoorsy type person.
Yeah, absolutely.
So talk to me about what you do outdoors. You like the bike? Do you like the hike? Do you like the boat?
Yeah, I'll do a little bit of everything. Like
Yeah.
in the summertime,
You
obviously.
told me your father's still does jet skiing or whatever.
Yeah, he does. He taught us like if we go to the lake, we have a boat. It's freshwater, saltwater
Especially
boat.
you're near Rhode Island anyway.
Yeah,
Right.
Yep. So we hit the lakes and we'll do kneeboarding, wakeboarding, tubing, and water skiing. So that's
What exactly is kneeboarding? Is that kind of a surfing when you're on your knees? Like,
yeah, there's a board
Wow.
that you're on your knees and you're just holding the tow rope and just kind
And
of.
somebody's pulling you on a boat, or is
Yeah,
or
and
the
we
waves
do
take
our
it?
360s and half turns and stuff. So.
Wow. That sounds a little bit too disciplined and apply because you're on your knees and you're being and you have to do. It sounds to me like
It's rough on your knees. I'll admit that.
Right.
You know,
Well, I'm sure it is, and it sounds like it's part of you. It sounds like it's also it could be incorporated into your workout routine.
yeah, I mean it's more for recreational purposes.
Right,
It's
I
not really a
understand,
workout, but
okay.
it's definitely like when I'm water skiing, you definitely feel it in your back and your arms and like
Yeah.
in your legs and what have you. But
And then if you're
but-
really good, he'll let you drive the boat, and he'll do the water skiing.
Yeah,
and he can
yeah, I
feel it in
definitely
his
do that.
back and legs and stuff.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. No, yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
but it's a lot of fun, and I also I'll go hiking and
Okay. You like to hike like on the rocky beaches of Rhode Island? Or you go
Yeah,
to the
anywhere,
mountains?
anywhere.
Anywhere, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any? The reason I'm asking is because I mean my thing is this. I know people, and I know this may sound silly, but I think some people. I mean as an outdoorsy person myself, I think that some people prefer the mountains and some people prefer the beach. I happen to prefer the mountains myself. I certainly love a nice lake, but which do you prefer?
I don't really have a preference. I mean,
Really?
I like hiking, and
Okay,
I
you
go
to,
all
like, you ever
over.
go up to
yeah.
Vermont and just take a
Yeah,
hike?
Vermont. Yeah,
Really?
Stratton
Okay.
Mountain. My cousin used to have a cabin there. We used to go to Stratton, and
Okay.
then New Hampshire. We go camping there, and then if you go to the beach, I always do like a nice.
What
long
about in
walk.
the winter? You do skiing?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I can't take that. That's why.
Yeah.
No, okay. So you're a year-round outdoors person. You don't really mind
Absolutely.
the cold weather that much.
I'm not a big fan of cold, but
you're used to it.
yeah.
You can live with it and you can make the
Yeah.
most of it.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, in terms of like do you have now your hair looks very nice. You have
Thank
it
you.
kinked. It's really cool. Do you have you were talking about who's that woman you says does your makeup?
Oh, Michelle Berzinski.
Michelle.
Yeah.
Does she do your hair too?
No, I get this. These are actually these are braids, but they're.
Yeah, I know
just,
they're braids,
Yeah.
but do you do them yourself or do you have
No,
some?
I go to this woman in Providence.
That's
so,
awesome.
yeah.
They look really cool.
Thank you.
They look really nice. That's well. I mean, because I assume that when you're in a competition for modeling, it isn't just physically being fit. You have to also have the right setup for your facial stuff too, and hair as
Right.
well, face and hair.
Yeah, and
Right.
I pretty much started doing like my own, like experimenting with that part of it,
Okay.
doing my own hair and makeup. So
Wow.
yeah, I like to be
That's
I like to be able to do stuff for myself.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
The
You
less
like
I
to
have
cut
to.
out the middle person.
Yeah.
Even though Michelle.
But she's great. I mean,
Yeah.
she's by far the best artist I've ever had do my makeup, because usually I'm very particular, and
Right.
most people are with how other people
Especially
do
if
their
you're going to be
makeup.
on, on the cut and have your pictures
Yeah.
splashed everywhere. all
Yeah,
over
but
the,
she's amazing, and like I said, Dominic just is an amazing photographer. So.
Right. Okay. So between her and Dominic, do they work together too?
Yeah, they were a team, and then Dominic has taken some time off photography, and Michelle has pursued her own career, and she's
Right.
doing really well too. So.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So they're both in Rhode Island.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's see. Have you ever been in any films or anything?
Not necessarily films. I mean, I did do an interview and some show work for there was a scholarship organization, Thanks USA. It's a
Okay.
military-based organization,
What was that, like for charity, for the military?
Yeah, they supported military spouses during their education. So.
Oh, okay. Well, how did you? Are you a military? Are you married?
No.
Okay, you're not a military, so you can't be a military spouse. I'm only asking because I'm wondering what function did you have in that for the military spouses?
Well, I used to be married.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay. Very
Yeah.
well. I know it's not for everybody. At least
Yeah.
at least not for a lifetime.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, but you married to a guy in the military?
Mhm.
Oh, okay. So that's when were you married to him when you were in that?
Yeah, when I was in college.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and a little bit after. Yeah.
Okay. So what exactly did you do in this particular?
In the organization?
Yes.
Well, they basically supported military spouses during the education. So what they would do is they would have like funding events
Okay.
where they would go and they would ask spouses that were recipients to represent the organization and show support and how the funds supported their education so that they
Okay.
could get more and keep it going
I see.
and build and grow. So. I volunteered to, they flew me down to Washington, D.C. twice,
Wow.
one of them was for a gala, and then the other one was to meet with some
What
of
was the first one?
It was a gala.
A gala.
We know
okay.
William Webster, the former CIA and FBI.
Yeah, yeah. You
He-
worked with those guys?
Well, they had
Yeah.
they had an event at his house in
Wow.
Washington, so I went there, and it was like a little cocktail
Good, you could
party.
be a spy.
No,
No? That's funny. That's
no.
awesome.
But but that was one of them, and then the other event they had, I actually got to go to the Pentagon and visit
Definitely
a couple
could
sites.
be a spy if you're in the Pentagon. They don't just let anybody into the Pentagon.
Well, they,
Come on.
They let us, a couple
Right.
of us go, and we were escorted and everything. But we got to, do a tour of that, and then we, there was a banquet ceremony later on.
Wow.
Where I got to meet General Casey, and a couple of the top guys in the military these days.
Wow.
So because we were all kind of giving a presentation, and so it was good.
Have you ever been in the military yourself?
No.
And you, all right.
No,
Well,
but I have a lot of respect for those that
Oh,
are
of
in the
course,
military.
yeah. They say, they keep us safe.
Mhm.
And okay. All right. Well, in terms of like, this was what did you say? You were interviewed for this too, because of this. Where were you interviewed?
Down in
I mean,
in
was it on
DC.
TV, radio?
Yeah, down in DC, we did
Okay.
do. They were interviewing a couple of us.
Okay.
To
And
represent.
they picked you.
Mhm.
You and someone else out of how many people?
I don't know. They have a lot of recipients,
Wow.
but they're probably one of the larger military support organizations. Thanks
Okay.
USA.
No, okay. Well, in terms of like, where have you traveled? I mean, I know you've done your shoots in Rhode Island mostly with Dominic and Michelle, but have you ever traveled anywhere like around the country, around the world to
For
promote-
modeling?
For anything?
Well, the farthest I've traveled is Japan.
Okay, what'd you do there?
I just went to Okinawa.
Okay, because they're doing karate.
No, actually, I was doing karate at the time,
There you go.
but there's a military base there. That's where my former husband was
Your
stationed.
former,
so-
oh, okay. Well, he wasn't stationed in Afghanistan or Iraq.
No, he did do 2 tours though.
Okay, but
Yeah.
not when you were married to him.
Mhm.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, how did you like Japan? I mean, there must have been plenty of hiking there, plenty of good. Asia's beautiful. The islands are.
Yeah, it was beautiful. It was it wasn't really able to go off base too much, but
Really?
it was still really
As
nice.
a military wife, you weren't allowed to. Well, that's.
No,
that's
they're very strict.
Yeah, I'm
over
sure they
there.
are.
Yeah, and
Well,
it's
well,
kind of scary being in another country and nobody speaks your language and
Yes.
you got to take a cab.
I went to China myself.
Yeah.
It wasn't scary for me because we had tour guides.
Yeah.
And I was with 30 other people, and we certainly weren't there on a military mission. We were there to, to see the country, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
But, well, all right. So, did you model over there? Did you take any great
No,
pictures?
no, this was years ago, probably like 7 or 8 years ago when I wasn't, I
Okay.
was still in college and I was.
Where did you go to college?
Mass College of Pharmacy and
No.
Health Sciences.
Oh, okay. Is that in Boston?
Boston,
Boston,
yeah.
okay. And that's, of course, you've got. How many years were you there to get your nursing degree?
I was there. I finished 2 years. It was a 3-year accelerated bachelor's, but
Okay.
I did the last 2 years of education because I transferred some credits in.
Wow. Oh, did
So.
you say you transferred to a different school?
Yeah, from a different school. Yeah.
Oh, what school did you transfer from?
I started out at the Community College of Rhode Island
Okay.
because I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do, and
Right.
it wasn't until I had knee surgery because I had a soccer injury
There you go.
that I got exposed to the OR, and I was like, oh, I really like this, so I was like, maybe I should go into nursing and pursue that route. So then that's what I
interesting.
did.
Someone under the knife says, "I really like this, and I want to be part of
Yeah.
it." Yeah, certainly. I guess I'm guessing that they must have sedated you for the operation,
Yeah.
and your soul probably left your body and looked down and said, "Hey, this isn't much fun lying on the table, but floating above it looks great. Maybe when I wake up, I'll come down and do it as a nurse."
Yeah.
Well, that's great.
Yep.
Well, have you going to possibly further your nursing career at all?
That's, it's an option. It's not something I wouldn't,
Yeah.
discount. But I mean, right now I kind of like the balance I have with
Sure.
my fitness and nutrition. I might pursue like health coaching eventually.
There you go.
But right, yeah.
Let's talk about your nutrition. What does your diet
Sure.
look like? I know I'm vegan, and you're
Yeah.
probably gonna, I assume you eat meat and chicken and stuff and
Yeah.
fish. But well, let's talk about that.
Well, I actually I started becoming really health conscious back in like high school.
Okay.
And
I'm guessing you graduated in 2005.
Yes.
Yeah. Good.
Good
Yeah,
guess. Yeah.
Nailed it.
Yep.
Okay.
So I started out, being really health conscious back in, high school years, and
Yep.
then into college. I started just doing like more and more research, and I was always like health conscious
There you go.
and just health conscious as well.
Well, you obviously, I just going back, I mean, I can't help but think were you always very like nimble, because you said that when you were a toddler, you were actually climbing trees and telephone poles,
Yeah.
and that's something that most adults can't do.
Yeah.
So we'll go back to your nutrition in a minute, but were you actually able as a toddler to climb up a telephone pole to the top?
Yeah, I'll tell you a story.
Go ahead.
I guess we were at the local library, and it was story
Without
time.
getting a splinter.
No.
Okay,
No,
good, 'cause you
this
can't
was a
get
metal flagpole.
Oh, metal.
So,
There you go.
so I
You
was,
can't get a splinter from metal.
yeah, I
Right.
was 3 years old, and I guess what happened was they either took a break or I kind of snuck out.
Right.
Maybe the story was boring. I don't know.
This was when
So
you
I
were like 2?
3 years old.
Three.
So I
Sorry. Okay.
so I snuck out and
Yeah.
I climbed the flagpole, and they couldn't find me, and apparently that's where they
So
found
you
me.
were up the top of the. How tall was the flagpole?
It was probably a good 15 feet.
Like
And I
as
would
high
just
as the
kind of
ceiling
shimmy.
here?
I would just shimmy
15
up
feet.
it. Yeah, I would just shimmy up the flagpole.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
because I did gymnastics too when I was younger. But
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I would climb anything that I could get my hands on.
But you basically had the physical strength to actually propel yourself up a flagpole to the top.
That's the story.
At that young age.
Yeah, that's what I was told.
You basically had suction cups in your hands and feet. You might as well have.
If you want.
Well, no, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Well, how did they finally get you down?
I don't.
Did they
I
rock the
don't
pole till you
remember.
fell and
No.
caught you with a trampoline?
No,
or
I
something?
probably just when the firefighters kind of slide down the pole. I mean, I
Right.
probably did that, but.
Ooh.
But I was. My mom said I had a death wish when I was a kid. I was fearless. I mean, now I'm like, a lot more careful
Well, you have
about
to be
stuff.
careful. You're not
Yeah.
invincible.
No, I
Everything-
realize that now, but I was like, my mom just was surprised that I survived as long as I did.
Well, when you were doing gym in high school, did you do rope climbing too?
Yeah, a little bit of that. Yeah.
Because you got to remember that's usually reserved for guys.
Yeah.
I don't know. I could never do it, but it sounds to me like you could probably mop up the floor with any guy in your class, in the gym class.
Yeah, I think for when you grow up and
I mean leave them in the dust. I don't mean
Yeah.
physically hurt them, but I mean
yeah,
okay.
when you grow up and you're kind of a tomboy, that's kind of what you do is you're like competing with the
Right.
boys and showing I'm a
You
girl.
played all the sports with the boys too.
Yeah.
And they let you.
Yeah, and I was I wasn't shy. When I played sports, I was pretty aggressive.
I'm sure you were. I'm sure
you
when
know,
you were playing baseball, you were kicking guys, you were kicking the catcher with your cleats when you were sliding in the home plate, jarring the ball loose.
No,
Which, by the way, the
no.
major leagues is now outlawed. Not
Yeah.
well, they've what do you call it? They've created a rule so that guys can't in the majors can't kick each other in the shins anymore when they slide in.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that.
You wouldn't do that? Okay,
No.
so you were aggressive, but you weren't hurtful.
No, just sportsmanship was always the most important thing
Okay,
to me.
so that's good. You had a good attitude.
Yeah.
All right. Well, now let's get back to nutrition. So you were health conscious from an early age, and
Yeah.
so what does your diet look like then?
Well, I've done a few
how'd you
different.
get
I've done a few different things. Like how they have like the diets out there, like the South Beach, Mediterranean, zone style,
Okay.
or
What's a zone style diet? Is that like
it's like
from the
you're
Caribbean?
eating a certain percentage of macronutrients.
There you
But
go.
I actually I did do vegetarian starting in 2011.
Okay.
Just experimenting with different things, and my cousin.
So you went meatless for a while.
Yeah,
For how
and I
long?
actually competed as a vegetarian.
Good for you. High five
Yeah.
on that. It's awesome.
But then I went.
Well, how'd you do in the competition?
I did okay.
Bingo.
I mean, it was my first show, so I wasn't really sure what to expect. But
Okay.
but I still looked pretty good and
Yep.
maintained my muscle and everything. And then I decided to give. I tried a new diet, ketogenic style
Okay.
diet, and they recommend whole foods. So I said, maybe I'll give meat another shot. I've given it up for 2 years, so went back to doing it. It seems to do really well.
Yeah.
And I really, I always liked meat. I mean,
Yeah, I know.
grew
I
up.
always liked meat too, but I can tell you this: if you, as a vegan, as someone who cares about animal rights, and I know I toot this one every time I come in, any chance I get. Any meat product that you love, hamburgers, hot dogs, steak. I don't know about lobster because, I don't know if you eat lobster. I could never take lobster as a kid. I used to love steak and cheeseburgers, but I eat veggie burgers every day and I love them. And you could eat, what I'm saying is, in turkey, anything, bacon, most of the meat products that you might enjoy, you can eat a very healthy meatless substitute for, which is much healthier for you. Now,
well, I think that a lot of the like when I was a vegetarian, I avoided all soy-based stuff, which is a lot of the
that's
main
true. Some of it
staple.
does have some soy.
But I don't eat. I think soy is not a very good source of protein. But either way, I understand.
But you can eat other things that are good, like beans.
Oh,
and a lot of leafy vegetables. A great source of protein.
Yeah, and when I was a vegetarian, it was mostly like beans, lentils,
There you go.
vegetables. But now, like my dad and my brother both hunt, so I get fish and venison that way. But if I do eat meat, I only do grass-fed or organic. I won't do anything that's been touched with hormones or antibiotics or
Okay,
anything.
right.
That's
I understand. All right, but I mean, I take it you don't eat much red meat.
just the venison.
Yeah.
Because I basically get it,
From
unlimited.
I know your brother and your father hunt.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awful. Well, I mean, that's how I feel about it. Well, okay. So, but what would you say? When you were not eating meat, where was your primary source of protein?
Well, I would do protein, like a protein supplement, like a good protein supplement. But I stayed away from dairy too, so no dairy, so no whey.
You were technically a vegan for a while.
Yeah, I was vegan. Yeah.
Wow.
No eggs
either.
No eggs, no dairy, no no meat.
Did you take a lot of? Did you take smoothies? You make smoothies like with almond milk. That's what I do every day.
Yeah, sometimes I would do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can add, and there are so many things you can add to a smoothie that are really good. Like I had my smoothie this morning at about noon, and I'm still good to go. I don't have to eat anything for another 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah.
And it's all it is. It's like drinking the chocolate heavenly delight out of the blender.
Yeah.
But what I add is like goji berries. I add like chia seeds, hemp protein, the same stuff that they used to smoke marijuana is also high in protein. But you never knew that, or did you?
Maybe.
Oh, well,
I never smoked, so.
No, I'm not saying that.
But I know,
I know
that
the stuff that they used to make that people smoke to get stoned is also good and high in protein. So if you consume it, you can get good protein. It's a good protein source. But that's what I'm wondering if you know.
No.
I didn't know it either. My parents got me into smoothies.
Really?
Yeah, they do it. And I've been, I knock 2 down every day in the afternoon, and then I add the fruit, the strawberries, the blueberries, and let me tell you something else. Bananas are high in sugar. You're better off with coconut water. For potassium, you're better off with coconut water. Yeah. Because it's got a ton more potassium and no sugar.
Right.
And unlike bananas, it has a long shelf life in the fridge. A banana's shelf life is about 20 minutes.
Yeah.
You buy a banana at 10 in the morning, and by 11 o'clock, it's got bruises. It doesn't matter whether you refrigerate it or don't.
Right.
I mean, I don't know if I'm just using that as, I'm assuming you eat all this stuff. Now, when you came here tonight, when you were outside, you said you were eating a taco.
No, not a taco. A snack. A snack.
Oh, a snack. I thought that's what you said. Okay.
No.
I'm guessing it was a rice cake with cottage cheese.
No, it was just I had this greens powder that I would just drink.
Oh, okay. There you go. That's good. It sounds good. Yeah. Okay. All right. Now, in terms of like, would you ever consider trying to get in being in like in films? Because
Yeah, sure.
Have you ever auditioned for anything? Mm-mm. Okay. Have you ever
Oh, actually, there was a friend of mine that they did like when we were younger, actually.
How much younger?
Like 5, 6,
oh, 7
kid. To 10 years old. Yeah,
okay.
we used to do these little mini short films. Like our neighbors would come over and we'd like create these little scene things, and
with
it was
camcorders and stuff.
Yeah,
cool.
So we called it like our little home videos.
Well, they weren't silent movies. They were all talkies, right? Like in other words, they weren't silent. Like when I was a kid, when I was a little boy in the early '60s, they got some footage of me with silent film, because back then the camcorders were all silent. There were
no, we had full sound.
But
full sound.
You were born a little after I was, so yes, you had so everything was verbal. So you made your own home movies.
Yeah, we made home videos. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this would be great for like if you ever did like a reality show or something about your own life.
Yeah.
Did you ever set it to music or anything?
Sometimes we put some music in.
You played the music.
Like we do music videos, or we'd lip sync stuff. It was.
There you go.
Yeah, we were crazy.
What'd you use? Like the heavy metal stuff, the Led Zeppelin and. Well,
yeah.
Okay, maybe a little Hot Fog Hat from the '70s. These are the bands that.
Yeah, we did Prince. So
Prince,
Prince, and Michael Jackson.
Oh, great! That's great. Like Thriller, right? Yeah, I can see you doing Thriller. We did. Yeah, I know, because I was actually in a comedy up in Lowell, Mass, where we played the song Thriller for a Halloween special, so it's a perfect song for that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, have you ever done any like editing, video editing at all?
No, not really.
Okay,
No.
do you have a camcorder now?
Not well, just
When
my
you
cell
all right,
phone.
when you compete, when you work out, have you ever had anybody film you working out?
Mhm.
Okay.
Not for any real other purpose
Just,
other than
I mean,
just
you know, maybe just to show,
for
just
progress
to
or
look at
whatever.
look at your progress and see how you
Yeah.
do.
Mhm.
Would you ever consider like making a workout video for
Yeah,
yourself? to sell?
definitely. Yeah, definitely.
Okay, that's what I'm thinking you should probably do. I always
Yeah.
like to give good advice to my guests.
Yeah.
So why not do that? I've seen so many of these on video on YouTube, on Facebook. You'd be great at that.
Yeah, I
You
think
and Jimmy
it's-
and Billy.
Yeah, we should all do that. Yeah.
You should all do that. Listen, I'd cover it for my show too.
Yeah.
I'd be happy to do that.
Yeah.
Now, in terms of Bill and Jimmy working out with you, how do they train you? I mean,
Well,
you just work out with them?
Well, yeah, it depends where we go. Like,
Okay.
the place that Jimmy and I went to was just one of my gyms.
Right.
And he would show me what to do, and we would do it. And then Bill has this Freddy's Hawaiian Punch place where they have like.
What'd you say it was?
It's called Freddy's Hawaiian Punch.
Oh, I like it. It's like a
Hawaii,
like
no,
a
it's
block
Freddy's
punching
Hawaiian.
bag?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
Freddy's Hawaiian. It's like a gym, but it's
I
like
think
all
I think
inclusive.
I've seen pictures of it on Facebook.
It's like a studio. Yeah, they
Yeah.
have a place where we can practice posing, like almost like a yoga
Okay.
studio, and
Yep.
then there's all this other equipment that's spread out throughout, and they just kind of do some different.
Do you do yoga?
I do.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay, regularly? Is a party? I mean,
Not so much anymore, but I used to do it. They have P90X videos that you can do now, and I did some Bikram yoga.
you
but
do like lotus stuff in the lotus position?
Yeah,
And so you're flexible enough to do that.
a little bit.
Yeah,
I'm working on
let
it.
me ask you this: if you were physically fit enough to climb a flagpole at 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Now could you right now, if you wanted to, get down and pull your shins back over your head?
No, I wouldn't say that.
You wouldn't be able to do
No.
that? Oh,
No.
That's interesting. 'Cause my nephew, who's now 7, I think can still do that. He could do that a few years ago.
Yeah,
so.
when I was little, maybe.
Yeah,
but
I know,
not
it is
so much
amazing.
anymore.
It seems to me like a lot of times you're more flexible when you're little than when you get older.
Yeah.
You have to, if you're going to stay flexible as you're older, you have to maintain it.
Yeah.
Just like everything else, like,
Right.
by doing things that will keep you flexible.
Right.
Okay, so you hurt your knee in a soccer match.
Yep.
Was that the only time you've ever been injured in playing
Yeah,
sports?
luckily, yeah, I've never broken a bone. I mean, I've had stitches here and there,
Right, I
but nothing
understand.
major. So
Oh, that was surgery though you had on your knee.
yeah.
Well, what exactly did they do? Did they give you a new knee?
No, I tore my ACL, so
Oh,
they
you-
go in,
okay.
they go in and they
Yeah, they
replace
cut
the
it right.
tendon
They
there,
repair
the
it like
ligament.
that. Was it minimally invasive or did they knock you out?
I was knocked out.
They knocked out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be awake for that.
Okay, but that worked out good because that gives you give you an opportunity. Now, as far as your workout schedule, like say, how do you incorporate? I mean, how many days a week do you work at CVS?
5.
5. So that gives you enough time to what is it, like an 8-hour-a-day job for you?
Yeah. Yep.
So when you're done with that, that's when you go to the gym and work
Yeah,
out?
I usually train right after I work out. Like sometimes if I do my cardio, my gym's close enough where I can go to do my cardio on the
Yep.
way to work, and then
Okay.
I'll go to work, come back, and lift. So.
Okay, the cardio, how long does it take you to do your cardio usually?
Usually it depends what I'm doing.
Right. You said elliptical, you said the
Yeah.
treadmill and the stationary
Yeah, it could
bike?
be anywhere from 20 minutes to an hour,
Okay.
depending on what I'm doing.
Right, so you could literally do that on your lunch break.
Yeah, sometimes
Okay.
I have. Yeah.
Then that's probably why did you do that today? That's why you brought a snack for here today?
No, today's my rest day.
Oh, today's your rest day. Good.
Yeah.
I'm glad that worked. That worked out
Yeah.
great. Okay. Well, how about, have you ever trained anyone else?
Yeah,
yourself?
I've helped some people. Yeah.
How many people do you think?
A dozen.
I mean,
maybe.
are you a certified personal trainer?
No, I think that's a goal of mine though.
Good,
But I
you
mean,
should
like
definitely
people
do that.
people look at me all the time. They're like, "Hey, can you help me out, or can you write me a diet, or
There you go.
help me with my exercising?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure."
What about the possibility of you opening your own gym?
I don't think I would own my own gym, just
Not
because
own it, but-
liability and stuff,
Yeah,
and
okay.
it takes it's like when you're trying to do too much. But I don't know.
You never know.
Yeah.
When you train people, do you train? Did you train them in their own homes? Have you done that? Like
I think mostly like when I train them, like I worked out with them, like I would be
right,
showing
but like
them
in the
how-
gym or at their
Yeah.
own homes?
Yeah,
Mostly at the
anywhere.
gym.
Yeah.
Anywhere, right? Okay. Are you on call? I mean, are people referring you to other people for training as well? Those
Yeah,
people that are
sometimes.
satisfied with you?
Yeah,
Oh,
sometimes.
that's awesome. Then and it's a great way to. I mean, it's a great way to like get additional income, and you
Right.
could certainly add. You could charge whatever you wanted to. If people were that confident in what you do, you could charge $50 an hour.
Yeah.
And plus, in some of the ritzy towns where the people have their own home gyms,
Right.
they can afford it.
Yeah.
That's great. That is so cool. Well, all right. Well, let's see. So, So tomorrow, what are you going to do? You're going to go. Today's the middle of the week rest day, right? So Monday and Tuesday you worked out. Today's your rest day. So tomorrow and Friday look like work. You're gonna pump, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you just use free weights or do you use machines or both?
I do a little bit of both.
You do both.
Yeah, depending on what I want, I try to mix it up.
I understand.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you know your biceps look pretty good. I noticed that, especially in your profile page. Do you do like one hand curls with each arm?
Sometimes, yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm just wondering. I'm just curious. How much do you usually use? The max, the most amount of weight.
Like for a bicep curl?
Yes.
I think like 25 to 30.
Okay, that's not
but
bad.
I think for me, my training
and
is not.
And how many reps?
Like 10 to 12.
Okay.
It depends, if you're gonna do higher weights, lower reps, or lower rep, high weight.
Okay,
So,
I understand.
but I'm not concerned about how much I lift. It's more about form and tension.
Oh, I understand. Right.
Yeah,
I know.
so it's like,
I should probably be more concentrating on form as well. Well, when is your next meet? You compete?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna aim for October 11th.
Okay.
And then there's a couple shows late October and then early November.
Okay. Oh, really?
So.
Can you? What's now between meets? What's the most time you can like? Are you supposed to take like a rest between meets, like a minimum of 3 weeks to a month?
Well,
or
you
like
could
2 months or something.
You could do back-to-back shows. Usually they're on weekends.
The same next day after one day after another.
No, well, I don't think there'd be any that close together.
Okay.
I think that would be a long weekend if you did two
Right.
in a row. But usually they're on a Saturday, so you could do one on a Saturday and then the following Saturday or the following 2 weeks from then. But there's really no like right or wrong way to do it.
Oh, I understand. Okay. What is the closest duration between meets that you've had, that you've competitive meets?
Well, I've only done
shows,
I've only
whatever.
done 2 shows, and
Okay.
I did one in 2012, and then I did one in June.
Of this
And
year?
if I had done the show a week after my last show, it would have been a week apart. But I decided.
Oh, right.
Not to do
So it
it.
was basically 2 years. You said you did one in 2012, and then I assume you said June. You meant this year,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So so you didn't do any in 2013.
No.
Okay.
I wasn't. I was actually after my first show. I said, I'm going to pursue modeling, and competing doesn't seem like it's the thing for me. But then I got stronger, more confident.
Right.
And I said, maybe I should give it another shot with a different
Definitely.
organization. So.
Okay. What about the possibility now? They have. I used to love watching this. I haven't seen it in a while, but on ESPN they have these modeling. It's sort of like a combination of modeling and fitness shows that with women, beautiful women like yourself with great physiques, just basically roll around on the carpet and just show off and just ham it up. Now, have you ever done anything like that? That's what
I'd consider it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, well, have you ever submitted a demo of yourself, doing a model show to to a sports network like ESPN? Have you ever submitted something?
No.
Have you ever done that? Oh, this might be an idea.
Yeah.
Or even go down and they're in Connecticut. I mean, they're in, I believe, Bristol, Connecticut. I think that's
okay.
where the studio is.
Yeah.
No, it just might be just an idea. Have you because there's so many tournaments, meets around the country. You might have to travel. You might have to leave New England. You might have to go to Atlantic City, maybe. I think a lot of the shows are done there. You might have to go to maybe Florida.
Right.
Then you could possibly compete for a championship of sorts. So would you ever have you ever? I mean, how far along do you want to go with this? I mean, I know you. I know how far you've gone, but do you want to? You're competitive. I want to know if you're going to take it to the next level and really compete for some kind of a prize that you can hang on your wall.
Yeah, I mean, like the first step right now is just going pro, and then
Right.
when you compete at the pros and you compete with the world, so
Right.
you kind of just take it in stride. But I mean, I really don't have any limits, and
Right. I mean, have you? As of now, you're not really pro yet, or are you?
no,
Okay.
I'm still aiming for a pro card. So
Okay. So my question is now, what would you have to do to obtain that? What would be the next step?
well, depending on what category you compete in, there's usually a novice round, and then there's an open. And when you win the open and the pose down, then you usually awarded a pro card.
Okay.
So I've competed in novice classes up until this point. So my next show, I'm gonna compete in the open.
Okay.
So then I'll be up for a pro card.
Okay. So how did you do in the novice ones you competed in?
I did okay. I was like in the middle.
Okay.
I definitely placed like top 10. But
Okay. So out of like 10 people, you were like 5?
I think my category there's probably about 30
Okay.
in the novice figure.
30 out of how many?
30 total in just the novice category.
Okay, but what did that? So what I'm saying is, where were you ranked on the?
I think I was like 6th or 7th.
Okay, so that's not bad. I guess that's out of 30 people, you were 6th or 7th. Oh, good. So you were in the top echelon. You were in the top third.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So in order to, would you have to be, but how high do you have to go to move on to the next round to get to turn pro?
Well, you know, when you're done competing in novice and you go to open, you have to win the open
Okay.
in the pose
You have to
down.
win it all right. You can't just be finished second or third.
No, no.
Okay. And let's say you don't win it, can you still try again another time?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay.
You can compete as much as you want, and when, you know, that's why they have different categories. Is you just, you know, you go based on your experience level and your,
Right.
you know,
Okay.
your conditioning. So.
Now, when you were working at Mass General, I'm wondering, did you ever do any physical therapy with some of the patients to help, you know, like not just the people that needed to like lose weight, or, you know what I'm saying? I don't mean training like training people like outside, but you know, there are people that might have maybe cardio patients. Did you ever help any of them?
Well, I was actually in the operating room,
Oh,
so most of the time the patients were, I interviewed them before they went to sleep, and then, you know, they were sent off to the PACU. So
When you say you interviewed them, you mean you tried to comfort them?
The pre-op, yeah, the pre-op.
Okay, right. So you were part of like getting them to sign, saying, okay, I'm here, I'm going to be here, and watching you. You'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, sign this waiver in case we cripple or kill you. You can't sue us. No. Well, I mean, that's what they basically do when you have surgery. They get you on the operating table. They know you have to have the surgery. Then they get you to sign the waiver. But I mean, you must have been great, though. I mean, you know, if I was about to be put down, or not down, but you know, put under for a while, I would definitely wouldn't mind having you stand over me saying, "Oh, don't worry, you'll be fine."
Yeah.
Now, in terms of like the types of surgery that you witnessed or that you presided over or helped with, what was like the most intense? Like, did you ever do open heart surgery, brain surgery, anything like that?
I'd say that the most intense surgeries I had there were vascular patients. They're usually the sickest because their internal arteries and veins are just, you know, shot, or they have heart problems. And probably the most intense procedure is when they do what they call a thoracotomy. Is they do a really long incision like along their whole torso, and they're replacing the aorta, which is like the largest artery.
Wow.
So yeah, it's really, and they got lines in every, you know, every artery,
every artery
lung
from
area,
your throat to your well, you know, the midsection.
Yeah.
Well, I got to ask you, how do you have the stomach for that? You got to have some kind of internal grit in order to witness something like that. I couldn't do that. I'd faint.
That's, you know, never really bothered me to,
really?
You know, it's I'm kind of fascinated with, like, you know, how the human body works and
there you go.
Anatomy, so I was never, like, you know, turned away.
Well, what about the idea? Have you ever thought of maybe possibly being a first responder too, working for? I mean, your former husband was in the military, and I know that. I mean, and basically in a way, when you're in an operating room, it's almost like being a first responder, except that the patient is already there.
Yeah.
Instead of being, you know, you're not right there where the casualty happens, but it's pretty close.
Yeah.
So would you ever consider doing that? Maybe working as an EMT on an ambulance or a flight?
Perhaps, flight nursing. But I think you have to be.
Because basically what you're doing now is great, but you're just basically typing data when you're working at CVS.
No, I do more than that.
Oh, really?
I mean,
what else?
I'm on like a committee where we deal with practice guidelines and patient safety and making sure if there's an error, why was it caused.
Okay.
I investigate. I interview patients. So it's not just, I'm not doing the admin stuff that I used to. But
okay. So when you interview patients, you interview patients that feel that something went wrong that shouldn't have.
Yeah, if they weren't you know, happy with something, or if they feel something needs to be changed, or.
Do you ever actually have to try and talk them out of, you know, pressing charges against somebody? Like, you know, I'm just wondering.
Well, a lot of times, you know, part of my job is determining liability.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, if there was an error, how can it be rectified? I mean, because you know, it's basically a legal department.
It is.
But we're also in the you know, there to prevent future errors from happening. Yeah.
Okay. Does any of this ever require going to court?
Not for me, no, not yet. But
Okay.
I imagine that you know, if there ever was a need for it, that's part of what we do.
You might have to,
yeah,
call as a witness or something.
Yeah.
Okay, now in terms of like when it was a Mass General where you presided over the surgeries, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right. And so aside from like making the patient comfortable, what else did that entail for you?
Well, basically, you know, we would start by interviewing the patients, and we were pretty much, I would say that they called the nurses in the OR the air traffic control, because we're kind of the glue that, you know, we had to communicate between the anesthesia team, we had to communicate between the surgeons, the residents, we had a scrub tech, you know, we had to count the instruments, set up the room.
Right.
We had to, you know, communicate with the pre-op area, then the PACU. Set up beds, you know, there's a lot of communication, a lot of directing going on, documenting, paperwork. You know, we're in charge of making sure all the paperwork's, you know, signed, the consent forms. Any medications that have to be given have been given.
Right.
Checking allergies, if there's blood products that need to be given.
Of course.
So there's a lot involved.
Of course there is,
It was
yeah.
very intricate, but Mass General was where I did all my clinicals when I was in nursing school, and it's a great hospital.
I know it is. I know.
Yeah.
Did you? I mean, when you started there, were you like doing like a program from your school?
Yeah, there was actually it's a perioperative training program that they had where they would kind of there was some classwork at the beginning, and then they would do hands-on training to scrub and circulate all the different services.
Wow.
So it was phenomenal.
Yeah. When you communicated with the anesthetist, did you have to actually regulate the? I mean, that has got to be a very touchy. In fact, a friend of mine who actually became I believe an anesthesiologist, Kevin Doherty. I don't know if that name rings a bell.
Where does he work?
I think he's an anesthesiologist at Mass General.
It sounds slightly familiar.
Yeah. He went to school. He and I went to elementary school together and high school. But what I'm saying to you is, are you responsible for the amount of anesthesia that is given to the patient? Do you have to?
No. There's an anesthesiologist, oversees
They do that,
all that.
but okay. So you have nothing to do with that. All right.
No.
So that's got to be pretty touchy, dude. How do they? I mean, I am curious. How do they decide? Does every patient different for the amount that they need to knock them out?
I think it's weight based and
Yes.
There's different types of anesthesia. There's regional, general, local.
Right. Okay.
So.
Exactly. Have you ever worked in the hospital with little kids?
Yeah, I did a pediatric rotation.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, and that's okay. I mean, that must really, it's a little different with children because
Yeah.
children
They're not as cooperative.
they're not as cooperative. They cry
they're
easier.
scared, yeah.
They're more scared.
They don't like
most
needles.
likely.
Yeah, that was me as a kid too. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. But then you tell them the story about how you climb the flagpoles, so you'll be okay, right? That's what you're saying. Okay. All right. Now you don't have any kids of your own yet, do you?
No.
Okay. You think you will someday?
Mm-mm.
All right. There you go. That's
No.
good. Because you're obviously I mean, that makes sense. It's not for everybody, and
Right.
you're a career person. So let me ask you this: when you compete in those meets, does it take time away from your job too?
No, not really. I mean, I kind of work it around my job, and what's good is my job is flexible.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, so
Oh,
I
okay.
kind of, I'm salary, so I kind of, I can make my hours. If I need to come in later, I'll just stay later, or
Yep.
if I need to, get a workout in midday, I'll, aim for that. And right now I have, weekends off.
Sure.
I don't have to take call or anything, so it's, I do have that liberty that I
course.
can work my fitness life around my work life.
How many gyms do you belong to?
Just one right now.
Oh, just one?
Yeah.
I thought you said you belonged to a couple.
I used to, like when I was living in Quincy and
Okay.
working in Boston, I had a membership out there, and then right now I have Workout World. But Workout World has like 30 locations
Yes.
throughout New England, so
Right,
it's like
they have
I
one
can
in
bounce
Brockton, too,
around.
where I live.
Yeah, I
Okay.
can bounce around. So.
Okay. Was that a Workout World member?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a nice gym.
Yeah,
What about the possibility of do they have any workout equipment where you work at the in the building somewhere?
No, not really.
Would you think that might be a good idea to suggest?
Yeah,
it?
I wish they did. That would be awesome.
Yeah, maybe just suggest it to the to the corporate or something.
Yeah, they do have a fit club, but it's mostly just like
Club Med?
recreational, like
Yeah.
biking or walking or hiking or.
Oh, nothing like that. Okay, well,
Or they do some classes like kickboxing and
Okay.
yoga, and boot camp and stuff. So.
Now, when you go out on the beach, do you like to tan? Because you look like you got like a nice tan there.
Yeah.
But do you use plenty of sun? I mean, is that part of I'm wondering if that's part of your shows too, getting tanned?
Oh yeah, there's a whole process to that. yeah.
Okay, but
it's not fun.
But it's not fun.
No.
Well, does it include like tanning booths?
No, I don't use tanning booths.
Okay, I'm glad because they're not. From what I understand, they have been known to be very dangerous. They
Yeah.
can cause a lot of things that you don't want to get.
Right.
Right.
But the tanning they do for the shows is either a spray tan. You can get a
Oh,
professional
really?
spray tan. Yeah, they spray you
It's
and get
safe to use that. It's like, what is it like? Was it like looks like shellac and it makes your skin dark and shade?
Yeah, or you can rub a tan on your
Oh
whole
my
body,
goodness, I never
so.
heard of that. I'm glad I asked these questions because I'm learning things that I never knew.
Right.
Well, I mean, how much do they do that all over your? I mean, let's say when you dress for a meet, are you pretty much like you're scantily clad? Because I've seen the pictures. You're wearing shorts and maybe a bikini.
Yeah.
Okay. So when they do that, do they basically spray you with it all over your exposed the part of your skin that's exposed?
Yeah.
Wow. And it doesn't hurt. How does it come off? Does it just wash off in the
Well,
shower?
usually it's set. They want it to set for 24 hours. You're really not supposed to get wet, and you're not supposed to touch
Shower
it.
at all? Really?
No. Yeah, that's why
Ooh.
that's why I said it's not a fun process. but-
Yeah. Well, isn't there? But it's got to be the safest. It's got to be safer than tanning in a booth.
Yeah.
But
I
what
mean,
about,
it'll eventually come off. You scrub it off, and it'll eventually fade away after the show's
well,
done.
doesn't it feel kind of sticky on your skin, though?
Oh yeah, it's not pleasant. It's not.
Oh, wow. But it's necessary for the competition.
Yeah, because you need to be dark. Dark enough that when you go on stage, it shows the definition, but you're not washed out. If you're not dark enough, you're not gonna.
Yeah, I noticed that because I noticed that a lot of. I mean, that's the thing. As we sitting here talking, I'm thinking back to the the female bodybuilder and models competitions I've seen, and they're all very dark. Nobody's really lighter than off-white in any competition. And I guess there's a reason for that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now there's no. Do you have to make sure you're not? Are there some people that are allergic to this stuff?
I wouldn't say that there's many people allergic to it.
I mean, can it cause problems with your skin?
Absolutely. I'm sure it's not the greatest thing.
Is it irritating? I mean.
Yeah, it's probably, it sits on your skin, so it's probably suffocating it a little bit. But it's not, it clogs your pores maybe, but, like if you just...
Your pores have to breathe.
Yeah, it's just for one day, and then they try to exfoliate.
Your pores have to breathe every day.
Yeah.
Don't they?
Yeah.
I mean, okay.
But it's again, one of those things you got to do.
All right, it's just one of those things, okay. Yeah. There's no way they could do it with just lighting?
No.
Like,
no,
okay.
That wouldn't work.
That is amazing. And is Michelle responsible for spraying you with this stuff?
No, she just does makeup.
This is okay. Well, that's not considered makeup.
No.
That's considered full body blasting, basically. Yeah. Yeah. Wow. That is incredible.
Yeah.
All right. So it's probably just as well that you waited 2 years between meets and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're planning something for October and possibly November, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then you're going to take another year off, you think?
It depends. It depends how well I do at this show, which will determine how my off season or my next competition season will go. But usually the heavy times to compete are spring and fall.
Okay.
So if I compete in the fall, probably the next time will be like April of next year.
Oh, okay. But next April, right? April 2015?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Well, so it gives you 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, so there is a difference between how you work out between meets and when you're not waiting to compete, right?
Yeah.
You're probably a lot less intense when you're not, right?
Yeah, like your nutrition's definitely going to be different. Training's going to be different.
Yeah.
Because what you don't want is like when you're in the prep phase, your calories are usually reduced and your intensity's usually increased, but you can't maintain that for any length of time. Your body's going to start adapting and altering things to adapt, and what you basically want is you want to maintain muscle,
right?
And you want to be healthy,
of course,
obviously, so that your body doesn't rebound and go. Your health can be at risk. So.
Okay, so do you feel it's definitely more intense when you're training for a meet, and even though and
yeah, I'd say that the intensity of the workouts is similar.
Yeah.
But depending on how you train and for what goal is gonna make the difference.
Right. So. Okay, that's cool. All right, so between now and like October 11th, you're definitely going to be training harder than you would be if there was nothing, and then you'll be training even harder between October and November. You said possibly in November too.
Yeah, October 11th will be I think that's the first show, but then I'm still going to just maintain throughout the next couple. And usually after you do a show, you look better the next couple that you do.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Without having to really work. I mean, okay, because you basically maintain the physique that you want.
Yeah, and the more you do, the better you get.
Of course.
Well, usually, hopefully, that's the.
Oh, right. Well, that's basically. So when you between October and November, those two are going to be like the closest, of duration between the two.
Yeah.
The 12s you've ever done.
Yeah.
Now, does that seem a little bit like overwhelming for you because you've never competed that close to having meets that close together before?
No, I think it makes sense because once you prepare for a show and you're ready, it's just you've worked so hard to just show up for that day and just present yourself on stage. So when you do them that close, you're already there. Your work's done. You just have to present it. So it's like
where was your next show gonna be?
I believe the October show is in Connecticut, and then there's another show in New Hampshire on the 25th, and then the next two are the INBF. There's Monster Mash, and that's usually in Central Mass, and then Worlds is in Boston. That's in like mid-November.
Okay, so you're gonna be doing one in Connecticut and one in Boston.
Yeah, I'll be doing at least three shows.
Three.
Three.
Oh, three. So you got two in October and one in November.
Yeah, or 2 in October, 2 in November, but it depends, what condition I'm in and how well I do whether I keep competing or not.
Okay. Well, guess what? We've made the hour go by.
Oh, wow.
How about that?
Yeah.
Well, this is, I just want to, thank you for being in here with me tonight, Jennie Laurent.
Yeah,
it's been great talking. I hope you had a good time.
It was nice seeing you. Yeah.
Great handshake there, and that's great. So this is Harrison Young for Topic Time. I hope you enjoyed it. Watch more episodes on the Raynham Channel, and See you next time. Take care.